All right, we'll call this meeting in order. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome. We're on this end of the discussion. The public input of emergency medical ambulance service within Logan County.
Vice Chair, we would ask if anyone speaks. I'm going to need them to put their name down.
Okay. Yeah, if anyone wants to talk, we appreciate if you print your name on here so we can get it right for the minutes. I don't know about over here, but in Crescent we're having some problem with EMS, not having the employees and what have you, so I guess we're here to discuss maybe a countywide 522.
If you want to shut that door back there, you can hear a lot better. When you look here in our cooler, I'm sorry.
So I guess we're ready for input.
There you go.
There's hearing none.
I'm here.
Yeah, there we go.
My clock says 6:30 on my phone, so. Okay.
That's what time it is.
Okay. We call the meeting to order.
We have.
We're behind time. We're already on the discussion of the EMS service of Logan County.
Got it.
So as Monty already talked about, because there's some EMS issues that need to be dealt with the Crescent ambulance service, there's talks of possibly revamping and revising the ambulance service countywide. So one of the things that I wanted to do with in District 1 was to bring that out into light right now. Most of our part of the county in our district is serviced by Guthrie, by the Guthrie Ambulance Service, and also the Logan EMS district, which is the Guthrie School District boundary, if you will, I think. And then the southern part of District 1 is serviced by IMSA, and that's paid for by a fee that's put on their utilities once every month. So they get charged a fee for that IMSA service. I don't see a whole lot changing in District 1, and even if we go to a countywide type EMS district. I think the southern part, because of the relationship with Edmond, will probably remain the same. And our support will probably remain as it is, with the same people providing that service. Any discussion, any questions, anybody? This is for the public.
Well, we've been told that our area won't be serviced by Guthrie anymore. We're just here to find out information about it.
Sure. I think that's right, Leanne. The city of Guthrie, I mean, I can't speak for them, but Eric's here. He could probably follow up on this. You live outside of the
We live
Guthrie
near
School?
Meridian.
Right.
We're in the Coyle School District.
Yeah.
They're some of my neighbors.
Yeah.
Ma'am, may I have your name, please?
Oh, Clifton and Luann Channel.
Thank you.
Eric, if you want to address that.
Yeah, our city council's intent is we've been covering everything outside of the Guthrie School District that we cover currently for nothing for 30-something years, ever since we took it from the funeral homes back in the 70s, I believe. And their intent is that we can't keep doing it for nothing. And state law changed in 2010 that allows us to not have to cover it anymore. It used to be we were forced to by state statute that said the closest unit had to respond, and that's how we ended up with that area to begin with. And in 2010, due to a lot of monetary issues statewide, that law was changed. And basically where you're at is the patrons of the Guthrie School District that are paying a property tax currently.
Chief, are you going to cover them or not? I think that was the question. The politics on how it gets paid for, I think you should probably leave that to the politicians. Are you going to cover it or
Commissioner
not?
Piercy asked me to explain to him what the city's intent was, and that's what I'm attempting to do.
Okay, so.
If you don't want me to, I'll shut up.
Your call.
Go ahead.
Our intent is if something doesn't change, yes, we're gonna quit covering, in a nutshell.
But we have lived there for 47 years, always spending, well, for a number of years in Coyle District, and been serviced by Guthrie, and then to just, what caused it? We've been serviced that way for 40-some years.
The burden of providing that service is being put on the taxpayers of the
Well,
Guthrie School
but
District.
there should be some way to fix it.
There
I
is,
mean,
and that's what we're here to discuss.
That's what we want to find out is, we
Well,
gotta,
and
everybody.
that's what we're talking about. The 522, that was passed back in 1976, and, you know, it covers the Guthrie School District, which y'all live outside of the school district. That's why we're maybe thinking about proposing a county-wide 522, so it covers everybody in the county. So that's what we're here is to get the pros and cons of the county-wide 522.
Yes, because I don't think you can just be selective and cover some people and not others. It
Right.
doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Well, in Luann, there's other options too, in that Coyle School District, and those people there might want to decide to, and you're part of that as well as I am, to have our own EMS district,
Well,
so
yeah,
that we
just so we're
provide our
covered.
own, or are able to contract with some other type of ambulance service, or with Guthrie, possibility. I mean, those are that, but what about the people in the areas that aren't in Coyle School District, the Luther School District, the
They're not covered by
Wellston,
it.
Perkins, you know, those are my areas, and we also up north in Marty's district, why we have the Marshall School District and such that currently, I don't believe, are they being serviced at all there?
They're by,
You took them
Guthrie's
to-
covering
okay.
everything right now.
Wellston has their own because
Wellston
we have
has their own.
occasion to use it.
No, Wellston has been shut down for about 4 years now.
Has it?
Really?
Chandler's covering there.
Well, I thought that because he had a heart attack out there and they responded, you know.
Yeah, they shut down in 2011 and Chandler took over their area. So,
Is that right? I
yeah,
didn't
we
know
meet
that.
Chandler at the county line now.
I see.
And it's the same kind of issue, if
It
I'm
is,
not
yes, yeah.
mistaken.
But this 5.2, would that be countywide or how would that work?
That's what we're looking at, is maybe doing a county-wide 522 versus just a Guthrie 522 and a Crescent 522, is go ahead and open it up to the whole county to try to give everybody some type of coverage.
Well, there
So
are
we just kind of wanted the public input on that and see how they felt about doing a 522 countywide. I mean, we just don't know what direction to go with.
Well, would that be put on our taxes? Is
Yeah.
that how that would
It'd be a 3 mills assessed to your property taxes.
3 mills.
So, you know, currently the way the city of Guthrie's looking at it, I don't want to speak for them, but is they're servicing outside of the boundary lines, so I can't say that they're getting service for free, but they're not paying nothing on their ad valorem taxes.
Uh-huh.
But they're getting a bill from the ambulance or so it's not free, but you're just not paying nothing on your ad valorem taxes.
So Eric, what does the EMS provide you? I know you got 3 mills fronting the Guthrie School District boundaries. So what exactly does that pay for when it comes to ambulance service?
Just the Guthrie School District alone only provides about 300 and something thousand a year.
And what is,
And that basically pays for the basics of the service. I mean, that's buying equipment, buying the trucks, paying salaries, and then the billing that we do, which we don't get what we bill out just due to insurance and Medicare rules. But that basically reimburses us for the cost of the call itself.
That's another thing that's kind of hard to understand. There are people who live twice as far from Guthrie as our area, and they are covered because they're in Guthrie, but we're not, and we're a lot.
Well, the state law is written where there's only a few ways that these districts can be
They're all
created.
tied to the school.
Either school, countywide, or municipality.
that's it. That's it. So it's either the city limits, or it's the school district boundaries, or it's the entire county. That's the only avenues that the statute allows.
I talked to one of the state representatives, and this was passed back in 1976, and they allowed then you could 3 meals on the taxes, and maybe it's time to change the 3 meals up to 5 meals to help fund this.
That'd be a legislative action.
But, yeah, I can't do that part. But. So we're here to get the pros and cons.
That would also probably require an additional vote if we decide to go to vote for a countywide.
So it would be put to a vote of the people then, is that what you're
It
saying?
must be.
Right. I guess my question is, if we went to a countywide 522, how do we set up the 522 board? How would we make it fair throughout the county as where you don't have a bunch of board members out of one district? My first thought, maybe 2 or 3.
Minimum, I'd say 1 out of each one of you guys' district, for sure.
You know, that sounds good, but the problem is my district, I take in Crescent, Langston, Guthrie. So potentially all the board members would come out of Guthrie. And I don't think that would be fair throughout the county. So I was thinking maybe 1 out of each school district. 1 out of Mulhall, Orlando, Crescent, Cashion, Guthrie.
Now, we discussed having more than 3 members, of course, and having you don't want a 6, possibly a 9 member or a 7 member.
I think you can only, I think you originally started at 3, and then that first meeting they hoped to go to 5.
I think 5 is the minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get technical, you got Perkins, Tryon, and Wellston, and Covington, Douglas. I mean, there's a lot of school districts that come into the Edmond, Deer
That's
Creek.
right.
So what would y'all's proposal be on board members? Anybody got any suggestions?
Well, to be honest with you, this is the first time I've given a countywide 522 board any serious
Yeah.
consideration, so something I probably want to sleep on, chew on for
Sure.
a day or two.
And I'm not saying the countywide 522 is the thing to do, but I think to get everyone coverage, that's one of the options.
Yeah, I think the folks in my district probably are pretty happy with what they've got already. Right, I know the other 2 districts have issues that need to be solved, but you know, down in the southern part of the county, southwest part, you know, if it's not broke, we probably should not be tinkering with it. It's kind of my first view on it, but we can talk about it. We can talk about it.
Well, all I know is people outside of the boundary lines is gonna need some type of service, and
That's right.
I think it's our job to make that happen.
I
So
sure
when
don't
they-
want the funeral parlors to take it back over.
I kind of recommend that we get the people that are supposed to be running the 522 boards and kind of today and kind of get their input as well.
Yeah.
Because the cash and EMS.
Because, I mean, this thing about, you know, going outside of the district and inside the district, it's the EMS district that they're talking about going outside of. And so it's the EMS board itself that determines whether or not they go outside that district.
That's not accurate.
And it's the EMS board's responsibility to hire a group such as yourself to provide the ambulance service. And it's their responsibility to support the taxpayers. Now, you can argue semantics back and forth all day, but you're a service provider at the end of the day. A
For our contract.
contract service provider. So if your contract needs to be tweaked by the EMS board, that's an option we need to discuss. That's all I'm saying. Chief.
It's already gone on public record in one of their meetings that what we do outside of their contracted service area is not under their purview, as long as we maintain our requirement fulfilling their contract with us.
I'm not sure that has anything to do with what I just said, but okay.
What it says is they don't care about us outside of their contracted district. It's not their problem.
Well, that's why we need to have a discussion with them, Chief. It's because it is their problem. That's what we're saying. That's what I'm saying.
I don't understand how it is their problem, but.
Well, I
Because
can
they're the
see
ones-
how we need a new EMS board in order to be able to cover the outside districts. The EMS board was voted into power by the people of the Guthrie School District boundary. That was a vote of the people. They voted to fund the EMS board. The EMS board then contracted with Guthrie Fire Department, or I'm sorry, the city of Guthrie, for ambulance services. And so now if people outside that area want to contract with them, then they're going to need an EMS board in order to be able to do that.
Correct.
522 boards are allowed, and if there's Attorney General opinions that support this, they're allowed to go outside their district to provide support. They always have been. As a matter of fact, there's an Attorney General's opinion that says they're supposed to collect for runs outside that district to support.
Don't disagree with that whatsoever.
So I don't understand where, as a service provider, you can tell a 522 board, well, I'm not going to go outside our boundaries anymore because I don't like the contract. We probably need to
It has
change the
nothing to
contract.
do with the contract with them. The contract with that board, Commissioner, is for that district that that board represents, which in our case is the Guthrie School District.
Right, and that district has the authority to go out to provide services
Sure, we do.
outside.
We used to have to, but
Right.
we don't anymore. We have the authority to go anywhere.
You don't
we
have to, but you don't, because you don't have to, now you've chosen not to. Is that what you're saying?
That is on the table,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
That's a city council decision, that's not an administrative action. That is
That's
an
why we need the 522 board here instead of the service provider.
I don't care whose responsibility is. All I know is people need the ambulance service.
Amen.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
And I'm just trying to figure out a way how we can fund this thing. One is either going to be a countywide 522, or Langston Coyle School District's going to have to do a 522 contract with somebody. I'd like to hear some options. What the people think, not what I think, what they think.
There are just too many people out there that are elderly and, well, anybody can need an ambulance
Sure.
at any time. And it's just tough to know that if you need them, what do you do?
Yeah. I know over in the Crescent area, I mean, you know where we're at over there. I mean, we're in a heck of a bind over there, so my main goal is to fix what we got. If we need to go to a countywide 522 to save what we got, I mean, I just need to know.
Folks, if y'all want to come in and have a seat.
So I spoke today to one of the commissioners in Lincoln County. How do they handle their EMS? And the way they handle it is they did have Wellston, they had Chandler, they have Fred that provide ambulance services, and they do run outside of the city limits quite often. There are several of the fire departments who have EMTs who provide ambulance service. It's part of that quarter-cent, I think it's a quarter-cent sales tax that goes to fire departments in Lincoln County. Otherwise, no, there's no funding, and yes, you just have to wing it. So you have to wait on the ambulances. If there's enough ambulances, they can get to you in a quicker and more efficient manner. But I think what Guthrie, city of Guthrie is running into is that now the city of Guthrie is having to subsidize the ambulance service because they're making all these very long runs out into the rural areas, and it's costing them not only in fuel and time, but also in equipment. You know how rough these roads can be. And they can't give the quality service to their citizens that their citizens voted for. So I think that's the reason, talking to several of the city councilmen on the Guthrie City Council, I think that's their reasoning. But I haven't attended them. I don't know. Maybe Marvin could expand on that. But I believe that's
The
their.
only thing I know about their last meeting I was at was the chief brief that they actually made a profit this year off of their emergency management services
Okay.
for the
No, we
city.
didn't make a profit.
Well, that's what you said. It's on video. I mean, we can go play her back if you want, chief.
Well, at the end of the day, we got a problem, and do y'all, anybody got any ideas on solutions besides countywide 522?
County sales tax.
What's gonna happen with the ambulances and stuff that are over in Crescent right now?
I don't know, Crescent's in a bad deal, I mean,
Because they already have the equipment, so
yeah. I know that we finally got a new board appointed. We had 3 members resign off that board. I don't know. We have to see what the new board does, see what direction they want to go. I don't know, but if they can't get that patched up, we need to do something to provide service for everybody.
We need to provide service to those that aren't going to be served, I agree.
So do we need to do 522s throughout the county, or do a county-wide 522? What do y'all think would be the best option?
Well, I don't see where, your 522 is what, mill levy tax?
Right, it's 3 months.
I don't see where people who already have service should have to be paying for that. Do you?
Right, I mean, I agree.
I mean,
Can we get your
well,
name?
for example, right here, we're in Oak Cliff. Rodney Lovingville.
I agree.
I mean, we're in Oak Cliff right here. Across the street is in Guthrie. That's all provided. And we pay a fire tax for that.
So you're saying the fire department will provide ambulance.
Yeah.
You're already paying.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
fine.
But nothing will change for you.
Yeah, nothing would ever.
The only thing
change.
would change, it would be for the people like in Langston, Coyle area, Mulhall, Marshall, Orlando.
So it would add to their taxes,
Right.
not ours.
Right.
Ours won't.
Ours would stay
Right,
the same.
you're already at 3 mills. You're paying that if you look at
Okay.
your
But
prop
the fire
savings.
tax is not EMS. Fire's fire and EMS is EMS.
That's right.
So that 1/4% sales tax you're paying goes to the fire departments, which has nothing to do with EMS.
So our fire department here doesn't have its own ambulance service?
Oak Cliff
does
is
not have an
not.
ambulance service.
Now they have first
Guthrie and
responders.
IMSA.
They have first responders, and best of my knowledge, you don't have any EMTs.
Oh, yeah.
You have EMTs as
Yeah,
well.
we've got probably 5 EMRs, which is first responders. The majority of the department is EMT basics. We do have 2 intermediates and 1 paramedic. We do run advanced service, but we are not a transport agency. We do not transport patients to the hospital.
That's
We
what
rely
you're-
on IMSA or Guthrie for that.
So that's what your ambulance,
Yeah,
I
that's.
mean,
our
that's why
ambulance.
we're here, is for that transport.
The ambulance is the transport company, not the first response
Right.
agency that responds, which will be your fire department.
So if all the fire departments went to first responders and they had EMT on staff, they would actually treat, then you would call someone in for
Right.
We
transport?
do pre-hospital treatment.
Right.
We
Stabilize.
treat, you know, whether it's cardiac arrest, whether it's breathing problems, whatever. We treat to our level of whatever guys are on duty. And we are a combination department, so we do have full-time people there, so we're staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But IMSA and Guthrie run ALS services, which is advanced life support. If you have a cardiac arrest or something like that, you're gonna need an ALS service. You have a major traumatic injury or something, you're gonna need an ALS service. You're gonna have to be transported to the hospital for treatment.
Is Guthrie ALS? I believe Guthrie's basic EMT.
No.
We're licensed as a BLS service, but we've got paramedics on every shift.
Yeah, they-
24/7?
Yes, 24/7.
Okay, that's good. to
They've
know.
upgraded that within the last year, and Guthrie does provide a good ALS service.
Good, that's good to know.
Actually, their response is better than IMSA. IMSA's response has lacked in the last year.
So Rodney, back to your question, the only people it would affect is the people outside of the school districts.
Okay, yeah, would they be provided with then Guthrie's ALS service, or is it,
Well, if we went to a county-wide
I mean-
522, we would have to appoint a new 522 board. Then that board would decide who they're going to contract with, and it'd just be up to the
service.
so it would, you would contract the service instead of in-housing it?
They might want to in-house it. I don't know what they want to do.
But they could do multiple services. They could do IMSA, they could do Guthrie, they could,
I would only assume
Go,
they would
Chris.
contract with Guthrie and maybe put a substation in Crescent, but I don't know the answer, I just don't know. That's why we're here, try to figure something out.
The only other thing would be like where IMSA, where you, and I don't know if you still can, used to, you could enroll with IMSA and pay a yearly fee,
Become a
whatever it
member.
was, whoever wanted to, as opposed to doing the 522, whoever wanted to, if you had enough people where you could do that, and then provide that service.
Yeah, but you're talking about getting IMSA from Enid or Edmond.
yeah.
You never know where they're gonna come from.
Yeah.
You can also become a member of Aerovac or Air, what is it called?
Medflight.
Air Medflight.
Yeah.
And I just did that because, yes, I'm in the Coral District too, but that's $65 per year per household,
Yeah.
which is pretty reasonable to me when I hear these $5,000 to $50,000 flights that have
Right.
to be made. They cover everything above your regular insurance.
Right.
So I went for that. I got a nice field right next to my house, yeah. You guys don't have to come. I'll get in the helicopter ride, thanks. But really, honestly, I want you guys there. I want first responders there. I would love to have EMTs there if I have one of those incidents. So,
But you can't just call that medical.
no,
like
that
you're
would be a
saying.
responder that would have to call.
That's what I say. I thought about that, medical line thing, but if you have to have an EMT and you can't get one.
They're coming to the meeting.
Well, and that's why I depend upon hopefully on my fire department to be able to provide that.
But does Meridian have an EMT?
Well, I don't know. Are you Meridian or Sooner? I'm Sooner.
We're Meridian.
You're Meridian?
They're working on it.
Are
They're
they?
working
Chief,
on it.
that's one of his first goals is.
I knew we had a new
He's wanting to
chief.
get them licensed for first response, so he's working on it.
I see.
Sooner's still trying to get off the ground, I think, but they're
trying.
they're flooding
And
the
Langston
wings
is as
good.
well. Langston's
Yeah.
got guys in the class right as we speak, so
Okay, good,
they're trying as well.
good. Coyle,
They're licensed, so is Woodcrest.
sweet. Well, Whipcrest has an EMT, don't they?
They've got several, yeah.
Several EMTs. And they're all mutual aid. So. So we have some coverage there, Clifton.
It made it for 50 years out there,
But you
I
don't-
rode her twice.
Well, and I hope it'd be all wasted money on my part, and I never need the sun.
Yeah, me too. But it doesn't always work that way. I
Okay.
found that out the hard way.
You have to plan for the worst and hope for the best.
That's right.
All right, are we,
Anyone got any questions on countywide 522 or any more good ideas that we won't need a 522, we can fund it some other direction?
If it passed, then this board would be over the entire counties.
Yeah, I think the role as the Board of
Yeah.
County Commissioners, we would elect the new board members to the 522 board, and then they decide from that point on what happens.
In each.
Well, the whole county.
now there is, what, sales tax? Countywide sales tax, provide something like that, and that way your people from out of state or out of county that come through here and they're needing ambulance service as well,
Right.
why, by golly, they be paying for it too, not just the homeowners, the property owners.
But then
So
we're
there's a
paying for
thought.
it again,
Sure.
a second time,
you're
we're
paying.
getting taxed twice.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna get,
Residents would be.
you
Not if
might
it went
be,
in lieu of.
you might not.
The ones that live in the school district.
Yeah, we'd be
Well-
double
Not
taxed.
if you,
I think it's a little premature
I did
to
it
start
when
talking
too.
about increasing taxes on everybody.
Well, we're
Sales
talking
taxes
about a
and
free
such.
mill tax increase on property owners.
This 522 now, would this be earmarked strictly for the ambulance service?
Sure.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's another good question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to go into a rainy day fund.
For exactly
All
It
the
this-
couldn't
services
be
he was
used for
talking about.
anything but ambulance.
Exactly the services Eric Harlow was talking about.
The problem that we might be facing, we don't know if we're gonna face it or not with the city of Guthrie, is the city council is talking, they're not gonna service outside of their district. So by all rights, they don't have to go pick Mike up. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have to
They
crawl
do-
about
they do
2/4
now.
mile.
but it's talk that they might not,
Or go to Crescent.
or go to Crescent. Because right now Crescent
Or
don't have
Castle.
service.
Right.
So we went to a countywide 522, that would raise my property tax by 3 mills. Currently, I'm paying a little over 72 mills, so that increased me to 75 plus.
Outside of the boundaries.
Right.
But that would require a vote of the people, correct?
Sure.
For the
Absolutely,
entire county.
countywide vote.
And they would have to vote, is that, that would include the vote to increase to do the mill levy on everybody in the county?
Yes, but it wouldn't increase the Guthrie people who already are at the 3 mills. It wouldn't do anything to change the property tax 3 mills for those who are already paying. That would remain in place.
Uh-huh.
This would just raise everybody else to 3 mills, create a new board that would oversee the entire county.
Well, now your election, if this goes through and you have this election, you said it'd be a countywide vote, but it's not going to be a countywide vote, it's just going to be on the ones that would be affected, because the ones in Guthrie are already there, right?
I think the way it would have to work is it'd be a 2 ballot question. I think one, you'd have to dispose of what we have and then enter into a countywide 522.
Well, my only thing was, I think it would be confusing to people.
Sure it is.
You know, because people in the bulk of Guthrie go, oh, you're going to raise me 3 mills. Well, it's not going to affect the people in Guthrie proper. I mean, inside the city limits, right?
Anywhere in school district.
Or in the school district, okay.
That's one
And
reason.
same
why-
thing in the Crescent School District.
So
Ashland
what
School
I'm
District.
saying is, you have a bulk of people in the Guthrie School District. As far as county population, more than likely, I don't know the numbers, but more than likely. So if you have that, let's say 75% of those, and they want to defeat it, they can defeat it, and then you're still left out here. But if you had it strictly for the ones that were going to be affected by the 3 mil increase, they would be more likely to pass it.
Yeah, I don't think we can do it that way. I mean, I know what you're saying. That's why we're here to try to educate the people and
Yeah.
The 522 district that was created by House Bill 522, all right, it gives you 3 options only. Was for municipality, boundaries of that city or town, the boundaries of the school district, which is Guthrie, Cashin, and Crescent, and others don't have it, and then a countywide 3 mil district. So it would be the entire district, entire county that would have to vote for this. And I think the language would have to be in there that if you fail to remove one of the EMS districts, which is that second question, then I'm not sure what's going to happen on that one. Whether you can have a countywide ambulance district, but also have a school district ambulance area inside that. I don't think you can do that. So I'm not sure how all that's going to work out.
I've got a question. It's probably be more for Eric to answer. Does Guthrie have the manpower to cover the whole county?
Well, I tell you this, we don't want to. And that's, our proposition is leave things like they are. Leave IMSA where they're at, leave Cashin where they're at, leave Crescent where they're at, leave us where we're at, and just get everybody the funding that they need, and it's fair. It's not
What
putting-
about the ones that aren't covered?
Well, I'm saying if this were to come to be a countywide.
Oh, I
Leave
see.
everybody's
I
jurisdictions
understand.
the way they are. Well, actually, probably even up some goofy, jagged lines that we have now because of the way the school districts are laid out. But, I mean, look at the map. If Crescent's closer to this, make that their area and
Well, was
truly put the
it the
closest
school
unit there.
district's responsibility to contract for
No,
ambulance service?
it's just the way the state law put it in. Those are the boundaries they said that they could use to set these districts up.
So all these past years, there wasn't any law on it, is that?
Well, before 2010, the state law said the closest ambulance had to respond. which in your case was Guthrie. And that's the way it's been for forever and a day.
Yeah, well,
And in
that's-
2010, due to a bunch of services starting to shut down due to financial problems, they gave these individual agencies the right to say, this is my district, this is where I'm going, I'm not going outside of that. And that's kind of what we're looking at right now is we're contracted with the Guthrie Schools 522 board to respond to the Guthrie School District. Anything outside of that, we're doing on a fee basis or mutual aid basis or whatever the case may be.
Eric, what do you say the Guthrie 522 brings in a year?
I think, Troy, you might have the figures better than I do. I want to say it's around 345, 375, somewhere between 350, 400,000. I know it's under 4.
It is.
So
Crescent's brings in 70.
77,000.
Yeah. And Cashin's is, Logan County's not as much as what their Kingfisher County brings in, but it's around,
If we went to a
Total
countywide
250.
522, it'd bring in roughly $1 million a year. So it would basically double what we're getting now.
Looks to me like sales tax would be a good way to go. Everybody eats.
but then you're double taxing the folks that are already paying
See, some of them are
property
already
tax
paying.
right now unless you did away with
Maybe
that.
they want
There's no
to.
sales tax for everybody.
Then you're good.
Can't do that.
Well, you could do a countywide sales tax, but that would ultimately be up to them to decide. So. And those are hard to pass.
Then you dissolve all.
And they're very fluctuating. It's hard, really hard to budget on sales tax where property taxes for the most part are fairly flat
That's true.
from a budget standpoint.
Of course, the one thing about sales tax, you're gonna catch everybody instead of just the ones
That's true.
who own property
Yeah,
and not the ones that are
It just
renting.
fluctuates so much,
Yeah.
It is true.
you know?
Yeah.
If the oil comes back, it's gonna zoom,
Yeah.
and with it down now,
Yeah.
why, it's just
Sales tax down
down.
almost 50%.
Yeah.
Would it not be a better option to do I mean, it'd be a lot of work, but for like Cool and Langston School District to do a 522,
Then you're talking to Payne County's commissioners about putting an initiative together for that side of their school district. If you do the school
That's right.
district, it has to encompass every part of that. It can't just be by the county.
That's right.
And then,
Crescent goes into
That's the same
Kingfisher.
thing that's done on Cashin. I mean,
Yeah, and King and
Kingfisher and
Crescent.
Logan County's cooperated on that.
yeah,
but really
It
that
can
would
be
be a
done.
better deal because it'd bring in more revenue.
true. It would.
And then it wouldn't be so confusing to the people, especially in.
But then you've got Edmond schools, Luther schools, I mean, you're running into Oklahoma County voters, you're running into, well, if you did, which I guess Edmond schools really wouldn't be affected if you just left it like it is, as long as IMSA continued to respond. But you've got so many sections of these smaller school districts on the edge of the county that, yeah, Deer Creek's another one.
Deer Creek, Cashin.
You go doing a Deer Creek school district, you're going all the way down to Gaillardia and everybody voting on that. That would fail miserably.
So that would be that
They're in the city
individual
limits.
vote. That would be that individual school district.
That's true. Then you
Whatever.
have just little sections that potentially be uncovered then.
I think that'd be a waste of time. I mean, time and money, just trying to go after something small like that when you pretty much know it's gonna be
If you do the
completed.
countywide, it's gonna be, like you pointed out, it's gonna be a huge education factor.
Right.
Trying to get everybody to understand the confusing part of it, and, you know, the first question would have to be worded in a way that if the second one doesn't pass, the first one, regardless of what happens, doesn't go
Right.
away. Because then you might run into 2 no votes, and then nobody has funding for anything,
Right.
so.
And the fact that it would be bringing it up to the standard of what everybody else is, not just increasing everybody straight across.
Which you would think, you know, if people understood it, everybody that's already paying would, you think would vote yes, because, hey, I'm already paying it, everybody else ought to have to pay it
Right,
too.
right. But you have to make them understand
That's
that.
true, yeah. And we all know how difficult it can be, especially on
That's right.
ballots, so.
Well, the first thing I hear is tax increase.
Like this, you're talking about doing countywide. Are there not some school districts, okay, so if you do a countywide, are there not some school districts that go into Payne County, Oklahoma County?
Yeah, that's what we were discussing.
Okay,
If
so-
you did the countywide, the whole school district term would go out the window, and it would be the
Right.
boundaries of Logan County.
Boundary of Logan County only, so the school district thing would have to go out,
Yeah,
okay.
that's one of the 3 methods that Mike said they give you to create one. It's either
Okay.
by individual school district, by multiple school district, by county, or by city limits.
Causes the most disruption.
Well, that's why we're here, try to educate the people and get some good ideas and see what we can get done. Something needs to be done.
That's true.
And District 1 by far is in the best shape of the three, coverage-wise.
Until we change it all.
Not necessarily. Why? Why would it potentially?
What
Well, I
change?
mean, so Cashin EMS crosses the county line boundary, you go to a county-wide, then that stops. We have to renegotiate that, that has to go away. Down in the southern part, I mean, there's all sorts of issues that go on there that I just.
Not if the
I
current
just see-
agencies fulfill the current areas they're doing and they're given that proportion of the property tax collected for that area.
Right, and if you were charging a proportional amount for going outside your district, you wouldn't be losing money, right? So, I mean, I don't understand.
We
what you're
do.
saying.
We don't get it.
Okay.
Medicare does not pay. You could bill them 20,000. Medicare pays what Medicare pays regardless of where you're at.
Right, so, well, all I'm saying is District 1 doesn't have a problem.
You don't
Coal-
today.
Coal-
You don't
and
today.
the-
What if IMSA, I'm just.
Right now, we don't have
hypothetically-
a problem, Chief, and I don't want to solve an issue that's not there for District 1.
But you may have a
So-
potential one.
so
IMSA
the-
could tell the guys tomorrow, we're not covered anymore, and
Well,
then you're in
to-
the same boat as everybody else.
Yeah, and my
Actually,
grandpa
had
always
problems.
told me to make sure and shuck the grain out of the heads before you burn the straw.
Well, as an
You're trying
elected
to burn the
official, you
straw.
need to prepare for the safety and protection of your citizens, and I think that's what we're here to talk about.
Prepare for what?
How is the cash
For
and
change?
ambulance system working?
They're having money issues. They've met with 2 contractors in the past week, and, I mean, they're not as bad as Crescent's at right now, but that's what their whole meeting was about last week, was money issues. So, it's not, it affects everybody. The same night that Crescent made public they were gonna potentially shut their doors, Surreal, Oklahoma, bang the gavel, we're done, lock the doors. No notice, like that. So, I mean, that happens 5 or 6 times every year around the state.
Well, any more questions?
Moving on, item 4.
Actually, item 4 will not exist on this agenda. This board will adjourn and open a new board meeting.
Exactly. So, item 5, consideration possible action on adjournment.
So moved.
Ready to adjourn?
Sure.
Second. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.